Today, let's go for the evolution of the push-up. So we're going to go from the easiest variations all the way up to the hardest ones. I highly recommend you join in with this one. Start with the easiest ones as a warm-up and slowly progress through them as far as you can get. So let's start with the easiest variation, so the kneeling push-up. So I'm going to have my knees on the floor. I'm going to have a straight line from my shoulder to my knees. So I'm not going to have my hips sticking up in the air like that. And I'm going to come all the way down until my chest and chin just kisses the floor. And then I come back up again. So our body from shoulder to knee stays as one piece. Level 2, I'm going to do an incline push-up. So my hands are higher than my feet. I'm going to slowly come down until I get to this end point where my upper arm touches my torso, and then I'm going to come back to that start position again. Just like the kneeling version, make sure you have a straight line from your shoulders to your feet. Then we have the standard floor push-up, making sure we've got that straight line again, all the way down until our chest and chin just kisses the floor, and then all the way back up again. Next, we have the decline push-up. So instead of raising the hands up like we did with the incline version, we're going to make it harder by raising the feet up, putting more weight into our hands and shoulders. For this one, I need to turn the cap around, slowly coming down. Now, you will notice here that my head touches the floor before my chest and then comes back up again. So I could make that slightly harder to get that full range of motion by going to a deficit. Now, the deficit is raising the hands up a little bit, so it does reduce some of that decline, but it allows us to go all the way down to where that upper arm meets the torso. And then from there, I can push all the way back up. Again, moving as one piece, so important. Next, we can introduce rings. Now, we can do hybrids of all those other ones, so we can make the movements easier by taking the rings forwards, doing like that incline movement. We can make a standard push-up much harder by, again, going to a deficit, because it allows us to go all the way down to our hands touch our chest at the bottom of the push-up, like so. And then I can get back to there. And I can go all the way up to the decline where I'm raising my feet up. Plus I have that instability of the rings coming all the way down to your touch and going all the way back up again. And I can even put my feet in the rings. So I've still got that instability, but now it's at the feet end. And I can come there. And I can even do things like jackknife or pike ups at the top of the movement. Then we can start to getting into inversion, so starting to put a little bit more weight or more higher percentage of our body weight onto our hands by going into a pike position. For the pike push-up again, we need to turn the hat round. We might need a little bit more external rotation to create a bit more space. And we want to know what our bottom position is. We need to create a triangle between our head and our hands. So start position is here, but bottom position is that triangle. Notice that, head forwards of the hands, and then I come all the way back up to opening the shoulders at the top. If that's easy, we can start to progress it towards the handstand push-up by taking one leg up in the air, still making that triangle at the bottom, still opening up at the top. Add some elevation for the feet, and we get even more weight into the hands before we start. And again, get that shoulders forwards, head forwards to create the triangle, and come back again every time. Leg up for a bigger challenge. And or bring the steps in to create that deficit and that full range of motion. Then once we're ready to take all of our weight into our hands and shoulders, we can do a chest to wall and a back to wall handstand push-up. Now you could argue here which one's easier or harder, but it's very individual, so I'd try a bit of both. So chest to wall first, starting in that chest to wall handstand position with a straight line, taking the head and shoulders forwards, creating the triangle, head kisses the floor, and then walk or slide the feet back up to the start position. Back to wall, we still want to have that nice handstand line. So I'm going to take one leg off the wall and then just have small support or light support from the bent leg, still creating the triangle at the bottom, touching, and then coming back up like so. Then we can combine balance and the strength of the handstand push-up and do it freestanding. So starting in that handstand line, just like the chest to wall, but now I'm not leaning, head and shoulders come forwards, feet come backwards until the forehead just kisses the floor, and then I come back up through that same pathway back to the start position. Then we can combine the handstand push-up plus the deficit to get all that full range of motion, but do it freestanding. So up on the steps there, starting that handstand position all the way down to touch the torso, and then pushing back up to the start position. And then we come to the finale, and I'll take my shoes off for this one. We'll do a 90-degree handstand push-up. So starting in that handstand push-up, starting in that handstand position, coming all the way down so your body touches the floor, and then go back up again. So it looks something like this. I say something because it might not be the cleanest. So from there, down, touch, and then back up like so. Ideally, the body would be staying dead straight, but it's pretty tricky to hold a conversation and do clean 90 degrees. Now, obviously, there's lots of other little small variations of the ones I've been through today, but they're the main ones that I personally use and I personally coach. If you have any others, stick them down in the comments below. If you have to help with your training, check out my app and my website, and I'll speak to you guys in the next one.